Okay, so this is the second part of the Stormtrooper drawing, and you can see I have the initial sketch on here, and I'm really pleased with the size and placement. That's sort of exactly what I was wanting to do with this. So now I'm going to start drawing over this and shading it in, and then the next part will be the watercolor. So I'm just going to start going over this initial sketch with my HB mechanical pencil. And obviously with this, there are some very clear darker areas and very clear lighter areas. So what I can do, while I'm sort of in this section anyway, is go ahead and shade these in. Because one of the things I like to do when I use the smudge stick, if there's an area that's very heavy and filled in with graphite, when I smudge that, I'll have a lot of graphite left over on the smudge stick, and I can use it to make some sort of subtle shadows. And that's going to work out really well with this because on the helmet, clearly there's some shadow areas that aren't really dark. So that trick is going to work really well for this. So let me get these shaded in and then I can show you exactly what I mean. Okay. So, for example, right here on the bridge of the nose on the helmet, there's a highlight at the top and then the sides are shaded a little bit, but that's not a solid line. So what I can do, I've got this graphite on my smudge stick. I can go ahead and sort of really carefully start shading that in. And if I need more graphite on here, I can just go into that shaded area again. Right, so that's very subtle, but that's how I want it to look. So that's a little trick that I use all the time because it works really well. And I'm just going to start, carefully drawing over the lines that I've already sketched out. And shading things in. And again, this is really the fun part for me. This is what I really enjoy because you're making it look really good. Hopefully making it look really good. And I can go back in later, for example, in some of these dark areas, and take an eraser and just sort of lift some of that off to make it look like there's a bit of a shine. You can sort of go back and forth like that with these sections to help add some details. Right, so at least we can tell what it's supposed to be at this point. That's good. I always, even if it's, a really dark section, I always try to blend out what I've colored in just because it looks better. And so even though this helmet is white, it's not a flat white. There's a lot of shadows and highlights on it. And I don't know if you can tell in the reference photo, but there's a very clear, right here on the top, there's a very clear highlight. And that's going to be a really nice detail to add. So I want to make sure I put that in there while I'm working on this area. So it's little things like that that really help to sort of make the drawing look better. Right, and I can sort of smooth that out a little better, but you can see sort of what I'm trying to explain. Now, even though I'm sort of, it's not the finished drawing, but it's going to get there eventually, I'm still checking the proportions on everything to make sure that this is symmetrical, to make sure that the distances between everything are correct. Right, I'm doing that the whole time because even though I'm starting to lay down these shadows in these darker areas, if there's something that's really off, it's better to fix it when you notice it as opposed to waiting until the very end. Oop, and here's the other occupational hazard, that you start getting graphite on your fingers, and when you're moving all over the page, you are sort of putting down smudges that you did not intend. Okay, so I'm just going to keep working on this, and then after that's finished, we'll do the next video where I'm going to add the watercolor.